Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. Stash and Burns are coming in. Um, yeah, so let's do a video. This is going to be a personal video. Uh, I've got five, technically it's seven, but two of them I kind of threw together, and one of them is an honorable mention. So, but five just looks better on the title, right? So these are five just nostalgic fragrances. Um, I could have done a 50 nostalgia fragrances. Uh, really, the only caveat I wanted to keep out of it was, stuff that I'm nostalgic for because of my dad or my grandfather wore them and stuff like that. I didn't want to, this would be nothing but Old Spice and English leather, right, brute? So uh, I kept them out of it. And this is shooting straight from the hip. There's no notes, no bullet points, no notes on the frag. I mean, I'll give you a couple of, but I mean, you know what I mean. Uh, it's not a fragrance review. I'm not reviewing these fragrances. You know, uh, it's more just I don't know a humane story, right? A human story. Because I know sometimes you watch a person on a screen for years, and we tend to, and not just you. I mean, me. It's human nature. Everybody. We tend to forget that that person is human, like everybody else, feelings and emotions. And I've done a few videos like this. I'm gonna do them from time to time just to remind you guys and myself too that this is more than just you know something I do to make money because I don't make a whole lot of money off of it. Make some, of course, but not enough to live. So I like doing it because it reminds me of where I came from, and it helps you guys realize that I'm a person too, right? I'm not just some AI fucking robot. This is a fragrance, like I tend to try to do it in all my videos though. I try to keep it light and fun, but even then sometimes, when you start getting a bit of a fan base, which surprisingly, by the way, thank you guys, and know, a few thousand people want to watch me do what I do. That's ridiculous. I never thought I'd get any more than 100 people than I thought I'd be lucky, right? So, it's a small fan base, but it is a fan base, and I feel weird saying that because I mean, who am I, right? Fan base, but I mean, I don't know any other just term to describe it, and maybe just like-minded weirdos. I mean, who like mustaches. I'm actually enjoying this for a change, the shaving of the face. Uh, but yeah, anyway, uh, so these just five nostalgia fragrances. I give you a reason why they're nostalgic and why I like them, and and we'll start with the honorable mention. Uh, Axe. This is just Kilo. It could be any Axe, honestly. I had so many of them between right after high school and a few years after. So late teens into your mid 20s, and it just reminds me of that time thinking I was all grown up. That I knew everything. Life wasn't going to get any tougher or any. It was just going to get better. Ooh, that's a kick in the face. But still, uh, good times with this stuff. Going to clubs, hanging out with friends, drinking at friends' house. Doing actual adult stuff when you're an adult, right? A young adult. Um, Axe was there. Axe was always there. Um, if I wasn't wearing it, somebody else was. You know what I mean? Because I wore a lot of fragrances too, but Axe was. Axe isn't as bad as a lot of fragrance people say it is. It's not bad stuff at all. So just Axe in general was reminds me of my early to mid 20s. Really, that time. Um, Next, believe it or not, it's not even really all that old, but it's got a very special uh, memory to me, and that is Sauvage Eau de Parfum. Uh, it's the first fragrance uh, my ex, who I'm still friends with, we don't fight or anything like that. It wasn't a bad breakup or anything. It's just, people grow apart. My ex bought me, and it was pretty much, we had just started out. We only been together about a year or so, and I really hadn't bought anything in that year and a half, because we had just gotten a house, car, So, and she knew how much I liked fragrances, obviously. And she said to me one day, it was date night, and she said, let's go down to Shoppers, stop at Shoppers. We were going to see, I believe, it was Age of Ultron, the Avengers. And I was like, all right, whatever, and we got down there, and she said, well, you can, maybe she managed to save a few dollars. And we weren't poor. I don't want to call it that we were poor, but we had a house and car and food, bills to pay for, right? We were lucky enough we could pay for all that stuff, and still have some money left over for things like date nights and things like that. So, but it was just a nice gesture, and gesture, nice gesture. And then it made me feel good, It's, you can pick out whatever one you wanted, and this is the one I wanted. It was relatively new at the time, and I had the original, and I really wanted this one, so I got this one. And I remember spraying it on the night of the movies. I stunk. I know I did, but I went to the movie anyway. I didn't care. It was packed too. So yeah, it just reminds me of that. It was a nice feeling. There's no nicer feeling than getting a nice, meaningful surprise. And that's what that was. So it'll always remind me of that day, and it's great. Next is a Drakkar Noir. Now, of course, you have a million and one memories with this, right? But the one that always stands out the most to me is my cousin. I was only barely 12, I believe. And my cousins, who are a few years older than me, come down. They were like 15, 16. And they were twins, live in Ontario. And up until that point, I really hadn't. I mean, I liked fragrances, but it was always just, like I said, my dad's aftershaves or stuff like that. And they had gotten a bottle of this for Christmas. And I remember being like, oh, and I've heard of that. That's supposed to be really nice. And they sprayed it on. And like, hey, why don't you spray a couple sprays on? I sprayed a couple sprays on, and I fell in love with it instantly. Instantly. I had smelled it before, but I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? You kind of smell it. And it was on men, teachers, and stuff like that, or waiters and things, at restaurants, but I never knew what it was. Finally found out what it was. I was like, instantly fell in love with it. Still love it to this day. And I remember us just walking around the neighborhood, going to meet a couple friends, introduce them to a couple of my friends. They were down for a couple of weeks. So, and us just thinking of Drakkar Noir. This would have been the early 90s, very early 90s, like 92. I mean, yeah, so great fragrance still with them nice memories. Next is going to be another one that was around the same time, just a little after this. And it's got a bit of a sad memory to it for me. But at the same time, the sadness lets me think of the happier memories. And that's Chaps by Ralph Lauren. I don't generally enjoy the fragrance. It's not bad for what it is, but it's leather. It's very masculine in an old school way. Soapy leather, kind of barbershoppy, but not quite. I've explained it before. But I was 13, and this you could get. It was a Ralph Lauren, which was like wow, and you could get it at drugstores for like, if I'm remembering, like $20. and it always came with this and the aftershave I have. Now I know still have this, but it's in its clear bottle now. It's square. I don't know if the fragrance is the same or not. I don't know, but I've only got a third of this left. This is an old ass bottle too, like old ass bottle. And my cousin Dave, he was a year older than me. Not that that really matters, but he had been held back a grade. Not because he wasn't smart. He was super smart. He was just too busy trying to be a badass, right? Tough guy, badass. But he was cool. He was good with the lady, as good as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old boy could be, right? Uh, the girls liked him. He had style, he had attitude, all that stuff, and he always wore this. He always smelled like this, and he used to let me put some on. He basically took me. I was this short little fat kid who was, I don't want to say socially awkward. I was always popular, but that's because I was always kind of funny and could fight. I mean, if that makes sense. So nobody messed with me or anything, and people kind of wanted to hang out with me, but not because of any other reason than that. Um, but he taught me how to dance, how to dress, uh, how I thought girls wanted you to act. They don't, but you know. And that whole year when he was in school with me, he got kicked out of his other school and had to come to the school I was in. And that whole half a school year and the summer after that, we were tight anyway. Like I said, we were pretty close, but we were really close. And then I moved, and he went back to his other school, and you kind of just grow apart. Not that we ever stopped talking or anything. You just kind of grow apart. Anyway, long story short, uh, like a lot of people, he got mixed up in some things, some drugs and whatnot, and messed his life up pretty bad. And decided to end it. And that's sad. And that was, geez, almost, well, no, it was, if not 20 years ago, 22. And that's basically when I got a bottle of this, bought this bottle. Um, and I wore it. I did wear it a lot, but especially right after he passed, I wore it pretty much every day for about a year, just a couple little dabs. And that's why it's so empty. And now I'm never going to really wear this. I'm just kind of going to smell it from the bottle from now on whenever I need a. Because as sad as that is, there's so many good memories with him, right? My first cigarette, my first party, my first kiss with a girl, uh, my first dance, my first dancing at a dance. I should say I went to dances before, but I never danced because I didn't know how, and he taught me. And believe it or not, I'm kind of mean fucking rug now. Uh, you know, and just that age, sitting at the school steps, just hanging out at the school steps, for a day, because everything was so new, everything was an experience, right? So the day would last forever. You'd get off school get home around 3:30, 4 o'clock. You'd go out around 5. You'd stay out till 9 o'clock at night. But those 4 or 5 hours, so much you experienced and so much happened that it was great. It was just great. So yeah, reminds me of Cousin Davy. Yeah. Whew. Uh, Next one is preferred stock, and this one, you all know that my nan passed away. Uh, it's a little over a year ago, and this was the first. It wasn't the first fragrance she bought me. The first fragrance she bought me, I say it all the time, was Hero, and I don't know who makes it or anything like that. It was in the Mel Gibson, I think the Lethal Weapon movie, and I'm just a 8, 9 year old kid. What am I going to do with aftershave and cologne? But I wanted it, right? Because I've always liked fragrance, even back then. But this was the first one she bought me that I wore the way you should wear fragrances, right? Uh, and it was actually this kit. They came like this. And of course, I had a cap, which I've lost. But this is old, man. This stuff is. Geez, it's got to be from 92, 93. You know, I was 12, 13 years old. And this was the first fragrance she bought me. And she bought me something every year at Christmas, usually this or, nothing super expensive, honestly. But that's not the point, right? Like, Aspen, Gravity, this, Robinella. Uh, the last thing she got me, I keep too, and that could be in this, but I decided to go with this one. Was not last year, obviously, because she wasn't here, but the year before that was Old Spice Pure Sport, the blue one and stuff. The whole kit, I got that up there now too with her stuff on the shelf, and just makes me sad again. You want to cry and stuff. You're thinking of Nanny, but I mean, all the memories I have with Nanny. Where do I start? 40 years, right? I mean, 40 some years. I mean, where do you start? I remember some of my earliest memories. I remember sitting on her knee. Geez, I don't know if I was 4 years old, man. I'm not even joking. And I don't know if they still do it in other cities, but in this city they used to have the ice cream man, and he used to drive a bike with a big tricycle, right? Big trice, and it had the ice cream cooler in the front, and you'd hear him coming, he'd be dinging his thing, ding, 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 ding. We never had an ice cream truck, and he'd drive around. And anyway, long story short, we were sitting there waiting for the ice cream man. She was going to buy me an ice cream, and I fell asleep with her singing me a song, and I still remember that song to this day. It was a song, you'd sing to a kid, right? It was, how much is that doggy in the window? I don't know how it goes. I just remember, how much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. I don't know the words, who sings it, or even where she got it from, but. And I fell asleep. She was rocking me. I was sitting on her lap, and she rocked me, and I fell asleep, and I missed the ice cream. And I told her while she was laying there hooked up to the machines that she wasn't allowed to go until she bought me my ice cream. She still owed me that ice cream. And so yeah, lots of good memories with Nanny. So just 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I just had to take a quick break for myself. I hope you guys understand. Yeah, lots of I remember sleeping over at her house all the time. Going periwinkle picking. We were chasing me around the house, gonna whip me with her slipper because I told her a dirty joke. Oh Jesus, I miss my Nanny. But anyway, guys, yeah, Nanny. Sorry, but I hope you understand. Now, this last two I put together because, well, I'll explain it when I get there. I've got the woman's version of White Musk from the Body Shop and Fahrenheit. The reason I put them together is this was my high school girlfriend's scent, and this was my scent in high school. In my mind, these two go together like me and her went together through high school. Like, peanut butter and jelly, coffee and cream, smokes and beer, smokes and beer, eh? But, and I don't find this super feminine. It is a little feminine, I'm not going to lie to you, but, and this was the oil, she used the oil. Hers was a dabber, mine's a thing, but, yeah, it just reminds me of her. And for whatever reason on her skin, this popped. It was perfect on her. Of course, I was in love and 16, so 15, 16 years old, 17 years old, right? But this just popped on her skin. And this is what I wore, of course. Fahrenheit, the beast, the masculine. Too masculine for a 15-year-old boy, but I didn't care because I loved it. And she liked it on me, too, of course. And it reminds me of her, of course, but it actually more than that when I smell this. and this, especially together. Oh my gosh. I'm going to waste a spray of this old ass bottle just for you guys. It reminds me of that high school, that time and all the things you did, like your first real party, where you smoked and drank and maybe even did a little, you know, uh, the summer times with her and all our friends at the beach, football games, rugby games, wrestling matches, you know, driving for the first time, picking her up and picking our friends up and going to the movies or going out to get something to eat or just going uptown to walk on the boardwalk and like high school stuff, teenager stuff that you do for the first time, right? Going to movies and just hanging out with all of us together was, high school was a great time for me. Uh, and I'm not one of those guys, glory days, a young man's eyes, glory days. I'm not tired. They weren't my glory days or anything, but they were a good time. Nobody, I know a lot of people, and if you're watching this and you're at that age group and you're having a hard time in high school, don't worry about it. Don't do anything stupid, guys. High school's over in 3 years. Honestly, it's like that. 4 years if you're dumb like me. I stayed an extra year to play ball. I failed the class purposely. Don't do that either. But it's 3, 4 years of your life. It's quick. It's over. Don't worry about it. Get through it. By the time you finish high school, you start college or start working, everything changes. Honestly, it does. But yeah, that's just a little PSA. Anyway, yeah, reminds me of high school. Uh, of her, yes, of course, first love, of course, it's like your first car. I say it all the time. Do you want your first car back over your new car? Probably not, but you still love it. She's still got a special place in my heart. My first real girlfriend, the first girl that I actually really loved in that way. But it's like it's not just that. It's everything. Friends, the parties, the going out and doing things that feeling so grown up. Going to the movies for the first time, really, without parental supervision, or going out to a bar. It was, just a pool hall, but there'd always be somebody there with a fake ID that would, or a sweet ass stash, can get us a beer, So yeah, so yeah, guys, that's it. That's just some nostalgia sense of my youth, and not necessarily even my youth. This is 7, 8 years ago now. I wasn't a youth then. I wasn't an old man like I am now. I was on the verge of it. Um, yeah. So that's it, guys. That's again. I just want to, like I said, I like to do these from time to time, just to ground myself and remind myself that it's more than just me doing videos for views. It's not that like I said, I don't do it for views or money, but even I get a little ho hum every now and then about like, oh, I gotta do a video. I don't want to do a video. And I've got to the point now where if I don't want to do a video, I'm not doing a video. That's why sometimes you don't get a video from me for 3 or 4 days. I just don't feel like it, right? Because it's not a job. I feel like I'm letting you guys down when I do that, but if I don't do that, then you just get something that's not very interesting, or I don't have the energy, the passion that I normally have for it. You kind of just get a ho hum video. So I've just decided not to do that. So if you don't get a video from me for a few days, it's nothing. Don't think anything bad or I've given up. It could be a week, but you'll get a video from me. It's just whenever I feel like doing it now. And if it was a job, I'd do fucking. If I could make a living out of it, I'd do, 3 or 4 a day. You spend 8, 9 hours like you would a job doing videos, researching them, doing all that stuff. I would, but I just do it for fun, and I'm glad you guys like it. And, I hope this video helps, like I said, humanize me, because sometimes, like I said, when we watch people and we only know them from what we see on a screen, we forget that they're actually a person You know, they're not just there for you and your entertainment. They're there. They're a person with feelings and whatnot. And maybe that just helps. I don't know. All right, guys. Peace, love, be good to each other, and really be good to each other. And honestly, guys, give me some of your nostalgia sense. Even if you, even if you think it's stupid, it's not. For whatever reason, maybe you just walked by the mall one day and smelled something on a girl and thought, "Man, I love that," you know. And you finally find out years later that it was poisoned by Christian Dior or whatever. And you're a guy, but you still bought a bottle because it brings you back to that memory. Boom, woman's perfume. It's okay. Just yeah, give me a memory, please. I know I say it all the time, but everybody who watches this video, give me a memory. I want it. Give me a memory. All right, guys. Peace, love, be good to each other, and be good to yourselves.